All right, everyone. So we are at it again with another video. This time, what we need to talk about is databases. So this will work. And there are tons of people who have Notion that are using pages, that are creating checklists, that are able to use it to take notes down. There's still the functionality of the search here. So if this is where you've stopped in the past, congratulations, you've still gone leaps and bounds in making your work easier. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about databases, that kind of next wave of the value of Notion. And really, the first thing that we want to say is, what is a database? It's a collection of items with properties. That's it. When we are thinking about software in general, most of the things that you are creating are in a database. If you're using a time tracking app, you have a database of the entries. If you are thinking about the logins for your organization, there's a database there. So data management is done by databases. And so when we think about applying it to your work, we're talking about tasks. Just know that the databases have been there forever, regardless of whether or not you've interacted with them like this, right? What you're using Notion to do is to create your database, but also to search and to track and to interact with your database. So, the pros and cons of going ahead and sticking with where you're at right now is that pro, it's simple, there's no learning curve. Con, you're not going to be able to organize this in terms of anything else besides basically linear subcategories. Um, it reminds me of the Oxford column where you would have to do an outline and then you have to kind of labor over whether or not one thing was in um, this line or that line and all of the above. Some things are supposed to be in two places, some things are related to more than one thing. Sometimes you're going to want to put more information that might be not relevant to what you're doing right now, but is relevant overall to the actual entry. And so you would want to kind of get see some data sometimes and see more other data other times. So these are different things that you can do with databases. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to create a task database. You're going to do this by creating a block for it. You can make databases in two ways. You can dedicate a whole page to it by hitting the new page button here, and then creating one here, right? Or you can do it on the page in and of itself. I like this better because I'm able to kind of be manipulating both sides of it at once. So, jumping in, what I did is I created, you see how that was a block? It just went into the empty space, right? Hit the plus button, either type in inline databases when you create it as a block inline on the page. Full page is what you just saw. It will exist now on this page in terms of where the location of it is, but you're basically going to interact with the database as full page versus turn into inline database. And now you have it here. And I could have done this in any kind of open space. But the idea being is that we are going to do this one from scratch. There is a wizard that I can show you as well. So let me just go ahead and do it. This one is the suggested task tracker. These are the database types that are more common with organizations, so they have templates for them. There is more templates here. These are the very basics. But in this situation, what we're going to do is start one from scratch. But if you wanted a pre-made kind of task tracker to just get you started, when you sign up for Notion, a to-do list comes with it, and you just choose the different properties that you're going to want to interact with. Um, Go through. These are the different tabs that you're going to have in terms of visualizations of that, which we'll get into a little bit in this video and then some more in videos after. But it will create something like this um, that we're going to interact with. But for right now, let's go ahead and hide it. I'm going to actually not delete it, but create a type of block called a toggle. And in this toggle, you can open and close the content inside. So I'm going to drag in this example for you so that it doesn't distract. But we can go back and look at it if you if we want to kind of compare it to what we've already made. So we already did some organizing here, right? We saw that it was a new database. We labeled it tasks, and we went ahead and put it under different categories. Categorizing my database, just like you would on a spreadsheet, um, you're going to have certain types of major titles for the different areas. I like to use a multi-select property in this case. So that is, and I like shapes for it. So just kind of showing that they're going in different um, types. And so in that case, we are going to create an office entry. And what I did is I just clicked on the new page. I could also go into edit property and add my options this way. So we're just going to add in 1, 2. This makes it a little easier to keep adding them. No, I already had admin. And then templates, create. And I'm copying and pasting these in, but you can go ahead and for client work, I'm not going to copy and paste this in. I'm just going to type it in. So client work. Here we go. Create. So these are the different categories for my task tracker. My tasks have dates on them. My tasks also have statuses associated with them. And in the status property, this is an incredibly powerful property. So if there are multiple stages in your tasks that are beyond just not started, in progress, and done, you can go ahead and add them into the different grouping as appropriate. And then I'll show you how that is really helpful later. And then if you're managing a team, you're going to want to put a person property there to manage assignees, right? Um, if there's a priority for you, we might want to have a select that only allows you to have one option as opposed to multiple. I am thinking maybe this is priority, so we relabel the property beyond the type. We're going to add an option, and then the option is going to be high, low, medium. And right now it's being manually sorted. We can lock it in like that, but I find that to keep your life simple, it's easier to sort with a number so that you're not dealing with alphabetical sorting and having any errors from that. So high being 1, medium being 2, and low being 3. Oops. Right. And now what we're going to do is that we are going to use some of the sorting features from here to be able to um, easily drag and drop these into their appropriate situations for the database. So when we think about the power here, right, we can ultimately just go in one by one, drag in an entry, as you see here, drag it in. It's being dragged in to the page. If you hit back, it jumps up to the title. And so now we have the title. We can put in the date. I want to do this weekend. And all of these will be assigned to me. And then priority is very high. I need to have very, very good vibes, right? I can manually do this. I can add a new entry as I'm going along by hitting the plus button, and then this opens up the page. So if I had a meeting, for example, and I wanted to make notes for the meeting, which is a to do, right? I can have this marketing meeting, outline my takeaways, my um, agenda, and then just add it in there if we're using a Canva or a Miro board or something like that. We can go ahead and paste it in here. Notion is really accepting of embed links, so we can visualize things directly on here. And that entry, once the page has content in it, it will show up like this as opposed to this where it's saying that the page is empty. Um, and then we just go ahead and add the date, etc. We can do it from here or within the page. We could just do it empty. Allows us to um, Clicking on empty allows us to fill in the property, right? So now I want to actually just make this super fast for me so that I can make it easy for me to just kind of associate things with their appropriate title. So what I'm going to do is going to group them. I'm going to group them by area. And I am going to say to myself that I will be able to drag and drop, right? We're going to move these instead of to-do blocks. We're just going to make them regular blocks, regular text blocks, so that we can just drag them in without having to do that backspace thing I told you. And we're going to drag them into the appropriate spot. So when you are highlighting, remember, we're just going to, like we did on Microsoft Explorer, we're just going to select all with this kind of click and drag open, follow the blue box. Anything that is touched by that blue box will be selected. And then now that we have the multi-select, we're just going to go ahead and drag it into the appropriate section. And now, because of the grouping, we've now made it so that we have everything dragged into the admin area, right? Because it knows that if you group it under there, you're putting it under admin. So here we go. Training. Only had one thing. This is not really training. This is related to office related. And then just delete these. And then text. I did wash the dishes. Ooh, I don't even have to drag that in. Let's see what happens if I do though. Uh, it will give a checked property. All right. Um, and then we're gonna do marketing. So you see, I'm using that toggle to just kind of like close so that it's easier to get to the sections that aren't filled in yet. So text. And now let's try this another way. If we're going to the if we're saying, you know what, I want to go ahead and think about this in terms of filters. So the same grouping idea works with filters. It knows if you filtered the page, the database to a certain status, a priority, whatever, that means that if whatever you enter in it should be under that same thing. So we're going to put in priority is high. We're going to put into it date is relative to today, this week. And then we're just going to put in the entries that are related to templates. If you're not seeing an entry, it's because it's probably hiding the empty groups. Because right now I'm just sorting, I want to actually make it so that I am still good to go there. So I'm going to pull into templates down here, right? And let's do this one. There it goes. This was put under my on as content. But what if I want to make it a subtask, right? In Notion, we can do subtasks. That's something you would want to turn on. So we're going to go to settings, sub items, turn on sub items, and then it's going to allow there to be another caret right there to be able to add them in. If you open the page and you open it as a side page, you would be able to go ahead and drag it in. So if this is open, if this is closed and you drag in this one, it's going to go in as the same kind of parent item. That's how they call it. If you open the sub page and you pull it in to the sub item, it's going to go in as a sub item. If you pull it into the new sub item kind of line, and now we have sub items for the greater item, right? This becomes really helpful when it comes to divvying out tasks that might be incredibly granular, and you might have a really large project that you want to track the minutia of, but you don't want to kind of have to see everything in super deep detail, especially as it relates to other kinds of views. So this is how these show up when you are looking at the database from this angle, or this layout. You are seeing the items regardless of whether or not they have date properties. But for the ones that do have a date property, right, I put in the date for next Friday. um, Cool. So I put in the date for next Friday. It didn't automatically update here. Um, it so I would have to go in and change that. See how it left because the date is this week. So the sub items still show up, and we can still do all of the things with them. But if you're just trying to think about maybe a roadmap or a kind of launch process, and you're just thinking about it in milestones, you might want to use that parent item feature. So we're going to remove this for right now because that isn't a super pertinent. We're just going to stick to moving these in. So this is templates. These are all parent items. And it did actually get alerted to the date, Wednesday being the day. So templates and then client work. Boom. You can hold down shift. You can click on one, hold down shift, and click down. It's going to select everything between the start and stop. If you hit control it's gonna, or command, I think in Apple. I don't know. No, it's only shift in this. Cool. So boom, new page. All these pages have been created. So why does it matter that we did this? It matters that we did this because now I can go ahead and visualize this in multiple ways, and I can filter it to what I care about right now. So if I'm thinking about, you know what, today is an admin day, I might say to myself, this week, if I'm focused on admin, I'm going to make a new view of this database. It's going to be admin. I'm going to give it a briefcase because I don't know, I like briefcases. They make me feel important. And I'm going to filter to the area being admin. And obviously, since the area is admin, I don't need to see that again. So I can just hide that. No, the information doesn't go into the ether. It just is being hidden here. The main data is still in 100% tact, and I can go ahead and say to myself, you know what? Let me put some info here. Okay. And I can now group them instead of by area because this is focused. We can do it by priority. So I'm just seeing in terms of by high, low, medium. Now I don't need to see priority, right? All of these are being assigned to me because it's at this stage my own personal productivity. So these are some of the functions that are available under the layout. You can hide the data source title if you don't want to see the name of it. You can remove the vertical lines. A lot of people like seeing that a little bit better. And then remove the page icon. If you get rid of the page icon, you can't see if something has content underneath it. Or you can, and sometimes people will put fun icons to help them realize what it is so it jumps out at them some more. So these are the one you can upload your own icons, by the way. You can use kind of these more flat icons that are cute but not colored. Oh, they do have color actually. These are the color that they come in. These are the colors that they come in. Oh, you can't have colors for the free version. That is gnarly. Okay. Well, oh yes, you can. Okay. Yipes. So I was confused. So analytics, I like charts. So this will help you in your organization to be able to view it each time. If you want to create a template so that every time we do the note, we do analytics type of work, we can create a template for our task tracker to have the same information we're filling out. So this is going to be based on analytics. So we're going to say, hey, analytics. Entries that are in the analytics template are going to say, um, I like headings. So findings. If you hit Command D, you can duplicate a block. So we're going to do findings, and then we're going to do method, right? And then maybe we do source. I like to duplicate them just because it makes, I don't have to do the extra step of changing the color and the formatting. So you can just duplicate it. And then so method, um, finding sources, right? And then I can upload different files if I wanted to with my sources. I can write a text of how I wrote out the information. So if in your organization that is a manual upload, they would put the file there. Then, if the method is a paragraph, they would just go ahead and start typing, and then the findings being bullet points for this data pool, right? Um, Now, if I go into this task, I can say to myself, this is related to analytics. Let me use the analytics template so that we can start standardizing how these tasks are done, right? Um, and the blocks will be there pre-made for you. The next thing I wanted to go over is maybe we want to have another view that is focused on today. So we're going to filter, in this case, not to admin. So this is this day, and they have a really cute icon for day. And then, so we have everything in this view today. We have everything, and we can duplicate the view. And then if we like the formatting already, we can filter to this month, right? Because we already have it this week. And then we can say, you know what, let's copy link to this view. And let's, instead of having only one database kind of like manager where we're creating a bunch of different tabs. So this is by day. And so these are tasks by day. This is this week. Right? And then this week, this day, month, right? And now I'm gonna take this one, and I'm gonna paste it below into the empty space. And on the main database, you're really creating your pre-made views elsewhere. So I'm gonna take the database link, and then it's gonna pop up new table view, views that are on the admin tasks already, right? And I'm just gonna click admin, because that's the one I want. And we are going to add a new one now up from the same task database, right? Don't worry about adding in any other ones right now. It's from the same task database, and we're going to create a new one. So we're going to do admin, and then now we're going to say filter to marketing, and we want it sorted by date and grouped by priority, right? These are all of the different tasks, right? And then we might want to filter out the ones that are not done, right? So we only see the ones that are yet to be completed. I love me a good speaker for marketing, so you can tell I use that one a lot. And just my own personal preference, years in operations, we don't like the vertical lines if we don't have to have them. And then maybe what we can do is that we can do some conditional color formatting. So in this one, we can say, you know what, if something is the date is before, is relative today, this week, right? Then these are the most important ones. So we can still highlight if we're not in this kind of by day, and we'll just toggle that so that we don't have to see it all the time. And then maybe make a toggle for, we're gonna hit two, toggle two, by area, move into the blue, Um, and so now we have, and instead of green, let's make it red. So these are the ones that are due this week, and even though I haven't prioritized them yet, are um, therefore going to be a priority. So we can edit multiple entries at a time. You would go ahead and select the um, in that kind of box that comes up when you're closer to it, right? You can select multiple items at a time and then group update using the edit property. Now these become high for me. I could have just dragged them up, but I wanted you to see that. Um, it is sorting by date. So if you move something into the area where the date is not appropriate to the sort, then it will give that pop up. You didn't break anything. You just decide if you want to manually sort it or not. And then if I want to see the others, remember we're going to go to priority, don't hide empty groups. And then I want medium, right? So now this is still workable. I have the ones that are in red are the ones that are due this week, so they pop out at me, and I can go ahead and make admin have the same thing. So conditional color, new color setting, air not area is not empty. Oops, we're going to do trash, new color setting if date is relative today this week, red, right? So now we have that. And let's just make it so the status is not complete, right? And one of the reasons why people will duplicate instead of creating brand new is just so that you don't have to remember all of these things. We can just duplicate the view for the rest of them. And now we're filtering instead of to admin, we're doing template. All of these are this week. Yikes. And I like a page for this. Yep. And so I should really focus on those, right? Because they're due this week. We're going to go ahead and take a look just so you can see the area has changed, but the status is not. As you see, the grouping is not, etc. This becomes really easy for you to create, again, same thing, but filtered views elsewhere. If you wanted somebody to um, kind of see the ones that have been assigned to them, you can, because the person property is there, filter it to me. And what that means is that the ones that have been assigned to you will be the ones that show up. But you can go ahead and remove the filter if you want to see everything that's in it. But you can make it so that we all use the same page, but but we're seeing different things on it. And then switching between views, you just go ahead and click on the tab. I have the toggle here, so I can, vertical lines. I can remove what I don't want to see. This is a one that Notion pre-makes for you. So similar priority, type, effort level, description, is what they have. And then, so this is all the tasks. Then they have a board view, which is another type of view that we'll cover, which is just visualizing. If I were saying, okay, you know what, for my, we're going to duplicate it. For my, what's next? Client work. There's some serious stages for that when I'm looking there. So we're going to put in client. We're going to give that person just a person. And then in this one, I don't really want to see a table. I want to see stages. And I didn't put one in down for everything. So these are the different groups. And instead of by priority, I actually want to see them by status. And then don't hide empty groups so that I can easily make the updates by just dragging and dropping across. and then subgrouping them now by priority so that I can see, okay, so these are all high priority, and I start putting the terms and conditions notice on my client portal, the contract sent for the perimeters, etc. And it's only going to show the name, but I can still go ahead and reveal whatever is pertinent. So the date, if there are sub items underneath it. Um, Obviously, we're interacting right now with the priority and status properties, so we don't have to worry about those. And all of this has been pre-filtered to area. So maybe just the parent and the sub, and that's it. And so now we are seeing this in a board view. This is really powerful. There's a bunch of stuff you can do with board views. You can go ahead and add cards to them, so we can make there be different previews. And I love me a good image. Notion has some automatic ones that are preloaded, but then Unsplash is in there, so you can just make that cute. Right? Um, Instructions definitely don't make me feel bright like the sun. Instructions make me feel like I'm in flow. So we're going to use that lady doing her thing. I'm sure that this artwork is gonna have an ironic twist to how I'm using it, but cool, you know. Okay, cool. So now we're seeing the board view. This is really powerful when there's stages. So if you need client approval, maybe you would go into the edit properties, change the status, and start adding in different statuses. So approval is still within the in progress stage. Maybe we change that to purple, right? So that we have those visual clues for us. Um, and then what if my last one we're going to use is a list? So we're still going to use the same task. I'm going to add a new one. And then we are going to filter in this one instead of to client work templates. Oh, office. Haven't done office yet. So, because I'm buying things. So we're going to do that one. And then we're going to say in this one, I just need a checklist, right? So I don't even need the page icon. I just want a simple view of the date that I am going to buy it, and then the status of purchasing said thing. If I say, okay, I'm gonna clean, I cleaned my makeup brushes yesterday because I am that girl. There you go, and you can check these off. The status property can be visualized as a checkbox instead. So, um, boom, and then this is filtering is not done. If you are in a in progress stage and so it's not done, it'll show up as a dashed line. So it's not like that information will go, it'll just show up a little bit differently, but you can still check it off. I have not yet saged my room. Remount my TV. I really need to do that. I came up with the whole configuration yesterday, that I'm actually super excited about. Um, High, low, medium, and then maybe I might want to put on a property for cost. So to hire somebody to help me, I'm gonna put in an amount here. That might be $200. Hopefully, not more than that. And so I can start keeping track of how much things are costing me. And then we're just gonna rename this office, and then I don't know. I wonder if there's a lamp on this. Oh, like, oh, chair. Yeah, that's an office. So, and then you can still do the same type of grouping. So let's group it by date. If there's, so you see how it's like no date, but then we can move into the different groups. Then we can resort by December. And then see now if it's, that will pop. See how it won't let you do that unless you decide to remove the groupings. We're not going to remove it. So you see how you can't move the April 1st down. Cool. So this is honestly quite a bit. And hopefully this is helpful. You can see your information in different ways. You can kind of have focused views. This is just the example through Notion. They've decided to have a filter all tasks by status, ones that have been assigned to me, right? And then a checklist instead. And you can just move them on the property visibility in terms of where you want to see it. So you can move name to the end. You can move date to the, you see what I'm saying? So, but I don't like that. I like this. I don't like that actually. I like this. Yeah. And go after it. And this is accessible on your iPad, your Windows Galaxy tab, your Lenovo tab, your phone, your any phone that has access to the internet through a web app and is able to either download the app or go to the web app and has an updated enough system that can take this program will be able to access this incredibly helpful stuff. We're going to go into the calendar and the timeline views after this. I cannot wait. Hopefully, this was helpful to you and you're getting after it. Have a fantastic rest of your day.